Hey everyone, Dowsing Chef here again. We're doing another parmesan substitute, this time with sunflower seeds. We're going to go through a lot of nuts and seeds to get these sprinkles, because I think you can just make a batch. Maybe you prefer sunflower seeds and you can make this one. And for dinner tonight, I'll just cook dinner as well. So we'll put this parmesan substitute into the mix. For now, I've got my potatoes peeled. We've got potatoes, no special tricks here. I'm just racing it around. I've already got the water on. Normally I'd put it in cold, but I'm just, I don't know, I just thought I'd get it done. And you know what? Potatoes, very good for students, very good for active minds, okay? So if you use your brain a heck of a lot, potatoes are really good. If you don't need to use your brain a lot, potatoes are not good. That's a little bit of spiritual advice there for you. So look, do you know how to cook potatoes in hot water and boiling water? Well, I honestly find that it depends on the potato. I really do. These ones cook in no time. So I just put the water on while I was doing this. So I'm not following rules. I'm just going to bring it up to a simmer. And then after about 5 minutes, I'm going to check if they're ready. And I did cheat. I've got a big sack of potatoes. The point of that story is all the potatoes I chose are all the same size. Otherwise, it's actually a real pain trying to cook potatoes all at the same size if you've got different sized potatoes. Do you get what I'm saying? All right, so that's quite a lot of water in there. I'm just going to take some out. Sure, there was a better way to do that, but hey, now I got this on. Mushrooms. Right, so when you're cooking mushrooms very good for meat-free cooking. Very good. We will always put the mushrooms in the pan first. We want to brown them up. So I got a few handfuls here. I probably need some oil in that pan, so I'm just going to get some oil. Rice bran oil, I recommend, the Dowsing recommends. So whatever's helping with this recommends rice bran oil. Okay, this is for kind of poor people too, right? The point of my story is all the talk about seed oils. Well, if you go and look into that, they struggle to rag on rice bran oil. They struggle. I'm not saying it's good for you. I'm just saying I think it's a wiser choice than canola for your vegan cooking. Now, if I had it my way, I would literally use palm oil. But, you know, the orangutans and stuff like that. I don't know. I think palm oil tastes really good and it's very fatty. And I think, you know, anyway, we're cooking for taste. This is the whole point. Look at me. Just look at me. We cook for taste. So we're going to do mushrooms. The whole point of my story is parmesan's going to be sprinkled on top. So you just cook some veggies, any veggies, and this parmesan sprinkle, all the ones that I've shown you previously, are going to make it into more of a nice meal rather than just boring vegetables. So everything else, you really can't go too far wrong. I got to put a lid on that. Then the rest is just me showing you myself cooking dinner. And without much fanfare. See, I'm just putting them as I go straight into the pan, because you want to cook the heck out of mushrooms, so don't worry too much about all the fancy stuff. Like, you've got to have, you know, you don't want to overcrowd the pan, or you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. Well, mushrooms are another thing. Like, sometimes you buy mushrooms, they're quite dry. Sometimes you buy them, they're very wet. And if they're very wet, well, it's very easy to crowd the pan, because if you only put a few in and they're very wet, all the moisture comes out and you're steaming them anyway. So my point is that I want to make this easy And a lot of these videos, they take themselves way too seriously, and you don't know what they've gone through behind the scenes to make sure everything goes as perfect as they say. All these little techniques and strategies, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Well, it depends on the produce that you've got. And I suppose these super high fancy restaurants, they have their suppliers with certain things, and they pay a premium with a guarantee to have a consistency of product, like of the quality of the product. And then there's seasonal produce, right? So at a particular time of the year, the tomatoes are super juicy and succulent. Speaking of which, juicy, succulent tomato from the garden. It's got a bit of that on it, which is all right. I'll just cut that off. So that's a beauty. So I'm just cooking veggies. Boiling the potatoes. Once they're boiled, I'm going to put them in with the mushrooms. But I think it's time. Whoa, turn that down. Here's another trick on mushrooms. So you get little tips here. It's to season while you're cooking them. Salt and pepper. And I need a spoon to stir them. And see, that's got a little bit of crisp on it, a little bit of browning, so I can stir them up. Oh, it's quite hot. Okay, right, so the whole point of the video is the parmesan. Sunflower seed parmesan. My bulk bag of sunflower seeds. Okay, the usual measurement, a nice amount for you to keep, well, either in the cupboard or in the fridge. 2 cups sunflower seeds and our usual nutritional yeast. We're going to go 1 tablespoon. All right, 1 tablespoon. Onion powder. So nutritional yeast, onion powder, the bedrock of the spices that go to the seed or the nut that you make your parmesan with. You can experiment on your own thing. We're going 2 teaspoons. Onion powder. Okay, it's getting a little different now. Giving you ideas of how to play around with your spices. Cinnamon. Yeah, man. Cinnamon. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Coriander, as in coriander seed powder rather than the herb. 1/2 teaspoon. Coriander seed powder, must have for the vegan kitchen. Okay, this crazy one I picked up from an Indian supermarket in the city. Hing, also known as asafoetida. Yeah. Just got to put a few shakes of this. Probably about 4 shakes. So it's probably about like a solid pinch of hing, aka asafoetida. Smells weird. Does something to, your multiple spices, brings things together, what have you. But I recommend getting that because that's your little secret weapon for your curries and for your spice combinations. Absolutely. Get that if you can. If you don't have it, do make this. Just leave that out. And what else did I need? Salt, of course. About 2 teaspoons of salt. 1.5 to 2 teaspoons. I'm going to. Because parmesan is salty, it's a condiment. It's a seasoning that you're going to put on top of your boring veggies or whatever it is you're doing. Okay, I'm going to blend it up. Here we go. You can also try toasting the sunflower seeds. But I think these are going to taste good raw. All right. Now, see, if you were doing parmesan, if you were doing actual parmesan cheese with this, it would all stick around there like this. So we've got a similar texture. Wouldn't be surprised if the fat content is actually similar to parmesan cheese in this recipe because of the sunflower seeds. A lot of fat in the sunflower seeds. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Taste time. Okay, there we go. Give it a taste. That's a good one. They call me the saltinator. For me, the salt's about right, but you might want to pull back on the salt. If you do a bit of home cooking, you know you can make these kind of adjustments. That's a good one. That's a good one. The next day, the flavors really meld together. You know, when chefs cook and they're like, oh, you know, oh, I'm getting the tomato coming in and the savoriness of the cheese and the, you know, the heartiness of the flour. It's like it's just a cheese and tomato sandwich, right? It's like, okay, like I can taste all the ingredients, right? It's nice. That's all I got to say. I just do recommend you try it. One of these parmesan cheese sprinkle type recipes, try it. They're good. You can sprinkle them on top of random things and it's going to make them taste better and it's spicing things up. So my potatoes, so that, yeah, anyway, that's it. Moral of the story, that's what you came here for. That's that. I'm going to put it on top of some veggies. Now I've cooked the absolute heck out of these mushrooms, as you can see. Now this pan is full of flavor. I'm going to add the tomato. Just going to chop that up. How am I going to do this? I'm going to go like that. I recommend, this is a bread knife. I recommend a tomato knife, and you can get like a giant version of tomato knife. Honestly, chefs don't tell you, but most of them use that all the time. Except when they're on YouTube and they're trying to look cool. Okay. Well, anyway, shout out to the chefs and cooks that do use that all the time when they shouldn't. So let's chop my tomato up. It's pretty juicy. I'm going to cut out the that bit. Get rid of that. I mean, a great meal would just be these tomatoes, bit of olive oil, salt and pepper on a bit of bread. It's too good. And yeah, I am like, you know, there's that term again, freestyling. I'm just chucking stuff in because it really doesn't matter because we've got the magic sprinkle. You can use the other sprinkles. I think I've already said that 1,000 times. And you just cook veggies. Have it with some rice. Potatoes are going in here. We've got some bread that I made. I'm going to have some bread, this with the potatoes. I'll stir the potatoes in probably quite soon. They've been simmering for a couple of minutes already. Those potatoes cook really fast, so you just got to keep an eye on things. All right, so it's been, yeah, it's nuts, man. It's been like, these have been simmering for like 5 minutes, and they're ready. These potatoes. So you probably know, you've probably been taught, bring them to the boil and then simmer for 10 to 12 minutes. No, I put them in hot water, and once they got to a simmer, they're ready after 5 minutes. So, depends what you got. And you don't want to follow rules, because even if I overcook them, well, we'll just mash it into the thing and they'll just be overcooked. It's not, you know, we'll finish them in the pan and that'll get the moisture out. And then if we undercook them, we'll just leave them in the pan for a couple of minutes longer and it's going to be yum. And you know what? Have you tried raw potatoes? Well, stay tuned. The Dowsing Chef. We'll do some stuff with raw potatoes. Okay. How did I test these? I did the fork test, and they fell off. Whoa! There goes the potato. See, that's me cooking. My eyes bigger, believe it or not, bigger than my stomach. Few too many spuds. That one's going in the bin. All right. So in a way, it's quite boring, right? It's just tomato. You can put a set of tomatoes in too. I'm considering that. And some mushrooms. And I don't go crazy on the mushrooms because, well, first off, mushrooms are so expensive. Like, really expensive. Like, meat is cheaper than mushrooms. Literally. Mince is cheaper than mushrooms. It's about extracting the flavor, just like you would mince. Cook it really well. Get that browning on it to get that flavor. And everything else is going to soak up that flavor too. We're going to we'll season it, but we're going to put a herb. We're going to put thyme. Now, I've chosen one herb. In my experience, when you make something really simple and you do want to add like herbs, I recommend choosing one herb and trying it. Because, first off, it makes the dish taste fancier. Try it, you'll see what I mean. Just one herb. Now, we've got a lot of spices and stuff going on with our topping, remember? This probably doesn't even need any herbs or any spices, but I recommend trying one. I've chosen thyme because thyme goes really well with heaps of things, right? But it does go especially well with mushrooms and potato. You could put mint. You could put anything, any herb, but I recommend trying with just one herb and a relatively generous amount. We're going to put it in towards the end of cooking. That's another secret. You can put some at the beginning, sure. When you put it at the end, well, that's a whole nother taste and a whole nother story. And you won't know until you try. And a lot of this stuff can be discovered through just cooking for yourself and your family and your friends all the time. And just freestyling it. What's the worst that can happen? Well, like, not much. Really, not much can happen. Maybe you burn your hand. I don't know. You're a bit worried about burning things. Just put on a lower heat. That's it. Yes. Okay, thyme. We're putting thyme in. I'm talking too much, and this is kind of my relaxed time as well, guys. I'm just using my finger. I probably put way more than people would put of dried thyme. I put about a teaspoon. About a teaspoon of dried thyme. And oh my gosh, if you have fresh herbs, well, do that. Definitely do that. Choose your herb. Choose your special herb to make it the... I'm not going to say star. I'm not going to say that. But that's it. So it's just basically potatoes, right? A few mushies in there. Now we're going to season. The secret to all cooking, okay, you don't get much finesse here, right? But this is all home cooking because that's just how I do it. I'll tell you, the secret to all yummy food, first up, salt. Way more salt than you ever thought humanly possible. I'm telling you for nothing now. Second, fat. In our case, it's going to be usually rice bran oil or just some kind of oil. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. The other secret to all cooking is fat. Way more fat than you ever thought possible again. And then the other secret is sugar. Way more sugar showing up in places where you never thought possible too. I'm not putting sugar here. That's a discipline thing. I mean, this wouldn't have sugar. But tomato-based dishes, I know there's a bit of tomato in here. So if you went to like a fancy chef, would consider putting a bit of sugar in this. Salt, fat, sugar. Forget all these other words. The U word. And acidity. You know, one chef I knew used to always say it's all about balance. It's all about acidity, the U word, salt and spice and all these things, and ended up putting lemon juice in everything. Like, you know, if you have, I don't know, a piece of chocolate, you don't need to add vinegar to that, right? Because there's no acidity. Or maybe there's some acidity, but you get what I'm saying. Not everything you eat has to perfectly have 20% salt, 20% lemon, 20%, you know what I mean? So that's just another thing. And that was, that was something that happened when all the MasterChef stuff came out. I know I'm talking too much, but I don't know what to talk to about these things. But seriously, There was a point where you'd go and pay a lot of money to eat a meal out, and everything was slightly acidic. Everything was slightly salty. Everything was slightly sweet. Everything tasted the same because everyone was trying to get everything perfectly balanced in this weird concept of everything has to be perfectly a little bit of everything. It's not a Pinot Noir or whatever the heck you're supposed to do. And even then, wines and stuff are meant to have different balances of acidity or what have you. So anyway, that's my point. Now I'm talking about, I feel like squeezing some lemon over this. This would actually be quite nice. All right. I think we're done here, guys. I'm just going to dish some up. This is my dinner. I'm using this spoon. It came out of the sink, but the sink is clean because that's where I clean peel and potatoes. So that's the other cool thing about home cooking. You can take pride in all what you do. And you know what's been where. Okay. Now, I would probably, because I was quite, well, I'm going to be honest. This is what I'm going to do because it doesn't look super greasy. I will do this. Finish with a little bit of oil because we're having bread. Extra virgin olive oil. And plenty of the parmesan. There we go. Boy, it's a warm one tonight, guys. Late summer here in New Zealand. Time to give our dinner a taste. Bit of bread to go with that. Let's make the dish look good. Wedge of bread I did in the pan. Obviously, get your salad going or your greens. And look at that. I mean, this powdery thing is a dip, veggies, so good. I already know it's delicious. I can already smell. The smell in the room here is amazing. Totally vegan too. If you fed this to a non-vegan person, what are they going to do? Not eat it? They're a guest in your home. Don't even talk. Don't even say the V word. It's such a rude word these days. Just make them a nice meal. Anyway. What can I say? It's delicious. Hope you like it. Give it a try. Thanks for watching. Hope you got some cool ideas. We'll see you at the next one. Much love, guys.